Into the 60s, and further comment from Reg Haswell.
I don't think they were as good as the 50s, but of course Willie Ludick dominated the 60s. And he was a great fighter, there's no doubt about that, and a wonderful crowd puller. I think it was a bit unfortunate that Willie Ludick did not get his crack against Curtis Coates for the world welterweight title about 2 or 3 years before he did. I personally thought that he was past his best when he fought Coates in 1968 in Dallas. I went with Ludick for this fight. Ludick caught Coates near the end of the 4th round with a terrific left hook, and Mr. Dave Levine and I both thought, well, we were taking back a world champion, but unfortunately he ran into a barrage of right hands in the 5th round, and he was so groggy that the referee stopped the fight in Coates' favour.
When one looks back on South African tennis in the early 60s, 2 names come quickly to mind, Renee Schuurman and Sandra Reynolds, who in 1961 both reached the Wimbledon semi-finals. Sandra Reynolds was beaten in the final in 1960 by Maria Bueno and gave Angela Mortimer a real fight in 1961.
Mortimer from the base, from the royal box here. Serves down the centre, a backhand return from Reynolds. Mortimer, a backhand down the centre. Reynolds, a backhand slightly across court to the backhand. Comes back from Mortimer, deep to the backhand corner. Reynolds down the line, Mortimer, forehand down the line. Reynolds, a backhand down the centre. Mortimer takes it on the forehand and slices, no, not out of court, but just slowing it up. Reynolds gets it back. Mortimer, forehand cross court deep. Reynolds is there and plays one deep 2. Reynolds, oh, Mortimer almost mishit that. Draws Reynolds up to the net now. Mortimer cross court on the backhand. Wrong foot. Reynolds is beaten out.
Okay, 15.
She pulled that back with a beautifully wristy action across Reynolds. Didn't think she could get it to the backhand. Now Mortimer serves. A backhand from Reynolds. Out! Dee Walter beside me, almost beside herself with excitement. And here are 2 game set and match points to Angela Mortimer. And just listen to the cheer that goes up if she wins this point. Mortimer serves the right-hand court to the forehand. It comes back into the net.
Max Robertson at Wimbledon. In 1960, the All Blacks were back with us and lost the series to South Africa by 2 matches to 1, with the Bloemfontein game drawn.
Forwards get down to the tight scrum lock here, going to put the ball in. Again, the New Zealanders are lining up in a straight line with a scrum with Adrian Clark and Lenine and O'Sullivan waiting for it. And the Watt on the other side, and back it comes to South Africa, held in the back rank, and out it goes to Oxley. Again inside to Antelm, again to Gainsford, again it goes out to Lofting-Nell. He's going for the corner flag, he brushes aside Kalk, going for the corner flag, and he cuts inside and he's got a score. Most brilliant bit of work by Lofting-Nell in the greatest tradition of South African 3-quarter play. Listen to the crowd.
2 years later, the Lions suffered a similar fate in South Africa, losing the series 3-0 with 1 match drawn.
Mark given and going to be taken. A left-footed kick here, won't find touch. Taken by Wilson. Wilson comes to midfield and with a right-footed boot hammers it out into touch inside the Lions 25. Beautiful touch finder by Wilson. There was a fine touch finder there by Wilson, raking down the left-hand touchline and drifting out just on the 25. In it comes at the line out, back it goes to Jeeps. Jeeps I can't see, Jeeps has gone down under the massive forwards moving around there, and no ball, but there is a whistle. And no doubt something will disentangle itself from that, and I would think probably the Lions will get the scrummage. They do, but South Africa get a fine shove on there. Before the ball goes in, they gain a bit of ground. Jeeps has it. Jeeps out to Waddle. Waddle opens up, gives to Kenny Jones. Jones slips through, gives to Waddle. Waddle knocks on. Then the referee lets advantage go as Roux gets it to Gainsford. Gainsford going for the corner flag. He's in. Gainsford is in. Gainsford has scored. Gainsford has scored for South Africa.
South Africa last participated in the Olympic Games in Rome in 1960. Our only silver medal was won by Daan Bekker in the boxing.
There's not more than half a minute to go in this fight. Siegmund wipes his nose with his glove, tries to come up for the knockout blow. That's the only thing I think that will save him as far as this bout is concerned. On this form, I think the Piccadilly of Italy will win the final if Bekker gets there. It is now Siegmund is doing the attacking in a roar from the crowd. Siegmund's round this one. I don't know if it's enough to make up. Siegmund with the left of face has Bekker staggering a little. But here comes Bekker attacking him, and he's slapping him once and he's slapping him twice. And we're near the end of the third round, and they now get into a clinch and out of a clinch. Bekker tries the left foot go past Siegmund's right cheek, and now the end of the round is just about near, and there is the final gong. The gong has just gone in the fight, and now we'll have to wait for the decision. In my humble opinion, whatever Siegmund made up in the third round, Bekker had a sufficient leeway in the first two rounds to ensure that he'd be the winner. The referee, Mr. Spazojovic of Great Britain, has handed the cards of the 5 judges. We'll hear the result in a moment. I think there must be a bit of anxiety in the South African camp, so I think that Bekker won. The chief judge has handed it over. Attention, the result is being announced. Bekker's the winner!
Now a vivid piece of commentary on a sport that doesn't easily lend itself to radio description. Top golfers in the South African Open and a master commentator.
Hutchinson, almost down on his knees, lining up his putt. He walks up to the hole. He'll take a little time over this. A huge crowd completely encircles the 18th green at Houghton. Hutchinson studying every blade of grass. And indeed, this putt is worth untold gold to him. Untold gold to him in reputation and in future prospects. And as he lines this putt up, a few drops of rain begin to spatter down, and nobody in the crowd, I think, is the least bit conscious of it. The whole crowd, save for a cough here and there, completely silent. That was an umbrella going up. Now Hutchinson coming in for this putt. It's about 6 feet. He takes a practice swing. He's using a center-shafted putter, as he has right through the tournament. Now here he is. Hutchinson shuffles his feet, gets into position. Crowd absolutely silent. The club head won't move back. It's back. It's on its way. It's 2 feet short, and he's short. He's short by 2 inches. And it would seem that missed putt may conceivably have given Harold Henning the championship, but we'll have to wait till a few more come in.
Charles Fortune at Houghton. After 7 lean years, Trevor Goddard took a team to Australia, which included the young hopefuls of our cricket, Eddie Barlow, Graeme and Peter Pollock, Colin Bland, Peter van der Merwe and Dennis Lindsay, as well as seasoned players like John Waite and Joe Partridge.
The fact that the first test was drawn was, I suppose, reasonably good, but we lost the second by 8 wickets and we weren't so happy. But in the third test, our side had much the better of a drawn match, and the team flowered into full bloom, winning the 4th test by 10 wickets, which included a memorable 3rd wicket partnership by Barlow and Graeme Pollock of 341 runs, with Eddie following this up with 3 quick wickets in the Australian second innings. Do you remember how it ended?
Well, no, it's Barlow, and I'm sure Barlow would dearly love to finish this match by clouting Neil Hawke for 4, but I somehow suspect he's not in the match on that note. Here it is, 4 runs wanted, Hawke bowling, Barlow facing. Barlow at the moment has 43, Hawke to him, Barlow flashes and misses, it kept a little low, a little wide outside the off stump. Well, Barlow went for the big shot there. Off comes the cap, pulls it on, takes it off again, looks down a deep square leg, looks around to a fine leg, takes a glint Arctic cover. Hawke, ice cool on this hot summer Adelaide day, moves around the wicket, bowls to Barlow. Barlow hits, and he's got it in typical Barlow fashion. Well, he's hit that high overslip, and it is 4 runs. And South Africa has defeated Australia by 10 wickets.
The excitement of that great win was nowhere better captured than in a manager Ken Villiers, who sprinted across the field to the commentary box as the match ended.
I suppose I am the happiest man in Australia, apart from the players, and we are really thrilled that we have won this test match in such a convincing manner. Personally, I feel it's a reward for continued improvement, and we're going into the next test full of confidence, and we hope to make a very good fight of it. From the players themselves, they've asked me to send their love to everybody in South Africa and to say they are very happy that you will rejoice with them today in this hour of victory. At the moment, they're taking things very excitedly in the dressing room. To South Africa again, thank you all for your messages of good luck. We've needed them, we've used them, but we hope we've still kept some luck for the next test.
Trevor Goddard's men came so close and yet so far. In 1964, South Africa was deprived of the chance to take part in the Olympic Games in Tokyo, but some of our confidence was restored at Kutsenberg on the night of Friday, the 13th of November.
It's a magnificent night, and the University of Stellenbosch students are going absolutely mad, as he's got 250 yards to go. He's never run a race like this in his life. He's got 220 yards to go. And it is another half a minute to go for the famous 4-minute mile. And he's coming down at the bottom of the field where the high floodlights are just above him. And he's got 150 yards to go. And he still seems to have about 20 seconds to go to make 40 out there. Applause as he's coming in 150 yards ahead of Willie Lamprecht. And here he comes up to the tape. And it looks as though he might have broken the 4-minute mile.
3 minutes 59,7. De Villiers Lamprecht of Stellenbosch running barefoot. The first South African Games were held in March of '64 at the Wanderers in Johannesburg. At the opening ceremony, one of the main speakers was the chairman of the Games Committee, Frank Braun.
It is the fervent hope of my committee that it may kindle in the hearts and minds of not only those of us gathered here today, but also of those who could not be here with us, a warm enthusiasm and a burning desire to encourage our youth to participate in healthy sport and recreation, and to uphold and strengthen the true spirit and ideal of sportsmanship of which our nation is so proud.
In that year, after 14 years of trying, Abe Segal reached his first national tennis final, where he faced a good friend of his and twice national champion, Gordon Forbes.
First service, nicely hit, returned by Forbes, and out of court. 40 love, 3 match points to Abe Segal. Surely he'll get it this time. He had 2 match points when last he was serving. Here he is with 3 match points. Serve a low volley, so is Forbes. Segal and into the net. Segal had the court there, but instead of playing for depth, he tried to play that one a little short and caught the top of the net. I think if he'd merely let it come onto his racket and rebound, it would have found the forehand corner with Forbes hopelessly out of position. Still, the tension's on. 1 match point sacrificed. Good service, returned by Forbes. It's over. Forbes returns into the net, and Abe Segal is the new South African champion. Score 6-4 to Gordon Forbes, 6-3 and 6-4 to Abe Segal, 9-7 to Gordon Forbes, and this last set, 6-2.
When Gary Player returned from winning the American Open in 1965, he got a warm reception at Jan Smuts Airport and was in remarkably good humour.
I really felt that I had the support of the whole of South Africa, which I mentioned in the press. Whether it came through or not, I don't know, which is a wonderful thought to have. And I'd just like to take this opportunity to thank every person for their good wishes and telegrams. I really appreciated it very much indeed. And when I was playing on the 5th fairway the last day, which is an extremely difficult hole, it's out of bounds on the left and water hazard on the right, and it's a drive in the 3-wood par 4. And I got up there and I just about hit my drive, and I'm standing on the tee wiping my hands because it was extremely hot. And I heard a man say, "Hak Vrystaat!" I was wearing my usual black, and I felt so strong, I just hit it right down the middle. It was such a great feeling to be so far from home and yet to hear Hak Vrystaat.
Another stalwart campaigner for South Africa in the mid-60s was Cliff Drysdale, who twice reached the semi-finals at Wimbledon.
Drysdale showing us that he really has got a bit of genius. Those 2 strokes. Not serve into the net. It's a very wayward genius. He's taken a lot of calling out today. Sun suddenly gone in, perhaps on Fox. He serves. The backhand, 2-handed return. Fox a backhand volley. Drysdale off 2-handed cross-court. Fox comes over the backhand volley cross-court. A lob from Drysdale, 2-handed. Back goes Fox. It falls just in. He loves in turn with top spin, and it's just in. A 2-handed return from Drysdale cross-court. Fox comes in on a backhand. Drysdale a back forehand down the line. Fox nets his backhand volley. Match point 3 open. Love 40. His box is nearly run to earth. He serves to the left-hand court. Backhand into the net. Next is right. Behind return. Fox a backhand volley deep down front-hand corner. A lob from Drysdale. Fox goes back for the smash.
In 1965, our rugby Springboks visited New Zealand, where they lost the series 3-1, but enjoyed some great moments.
And the penalty back here on the 25, and here's a chance for Springboks to have a good goal for this one. Whenever he's wanted to get one over, it would be this occasion. The pressure will be on him. He's placing the ball on the 25. Just outside the 25. There are 2 minutes to go in the game. It's 16 points all. And this is a great finish to an entertaining test match. Let's see how Nordia goes on this one. It's a heavy ball, Norrie. It is, and it'll be a hard kick because it is Nordia's down the head. You have to aim to the right of the post. If he aims for the centre, I think he'll be more inclined to go down the middle. It's quite a hard kick from here. There's a lot relies on it at this stage. Only got a couple of minutes to go. 2 minutes to go in the game. Now I will finish. About a minute to go. And Nordia has getting himself. Gets prepared and comes in for the kick now. He's underneath it. Wait for it. Down the centre. And here's Muir. Now they're taking it. In the last game. Money rolling.
The third test at Christchurch, won by South Africa in 1916. And the commentator, did you recognise him? Bob Irvine. But what our rugby players failed to achieve in New Zealand, our cricketers managed in England.
Peter van der Merwe's team in England achieved every cricketer's dream. They won the series of 3 test matches. It was a short tour, as you might recall, by a victory at Nottingham by 94 runs on the 4th day, after a ding-dong struggle in the first test at Lord's. And that match at Nottingham is singled out really for one of the most magnificent inningses by a left-hand batsman in the history of Trent Bridge Cricket Ground. Perhaps you'd like to hear something of it.
Yes, and here he is, John, with Cartwright bowling and Graeme Pollock hitting him off the back foot. It's beaten Larter at mid-order. Was a little bit slow to get across and get down. They've taken 2 runs. I think Larter will just about step that. And also she was short of the boundary, or has it rolled over it? Yeah, 4. It's 4 runs. Yeah. He did actually stop it, but only took the momentum off it. Just 1 more run. It is going to be 152 for 5. And it's a short one, and it is, yes, that's it. Good for 4 on the leg side.
Commentator Robert Hudson, and the end of that match is described by Charles Fortune.
2 more balls to come. Larter's into double figures. England is 224. Pollock is champing for that 5th and final wicket. Will he get it with this ball? Did he let go at Larter? Larter plays a shocking, it's a safe one. He keeps the ball out of his stump. He backed to square. He used a bat held diagonally at about 45 degrees, but he managed to have the slope of the bat just where the ball was coming through. And in fact, although the bat was as diagonal as, or let's say the spire of Chesterfield Church, the fact remains that he middled it, and he's still there. 2-2-4 for 9, Larter 10, 44 Parks. Pollock wanting that 5th wicket. Bowls the Larter lofts, he can be over, it's over. Caught, South Africa has won. Caught from the Malva bowled Pollock. South Africa has won this match by, I would think, subject to correction from Arthur, by 94 runs. SA won by 94 runs. And for Roy McLean, the final catch was made in much the same position as you took the final catch here in 1951 when South Africa last beat England at Trent Bridge.
In South African swimming in the mid-60s, the name with which to conjure was Karen Muir. And at the tender age of 12, she was as shy as she was plucky, especially on the afternoon that she captured her first world record.
Karen, an incredible performance. How long have you been swimming?
I've been swimming 3 years now.
And how do you feel about breaking a world record?
I was very pleased.
Did you deliberately set out to break a record this afternoon?
No, it was unexpected.
You didn't? You just swam as fast as you could?
Nearly.
You can swim just a wee bit faster, do you think?
Yes.
The youngest world record breaker of all time. Karen's great rival at that time was Fairlie. At one stage, Karen won at Ellis Park. Anne set up a new world record at Kimberley, and then Karen retrieved her record in an unforgettable race in Durban on the night of Saturday, February the 26th. The commentator was Tom Meehan.
And away they go. In lane 5, 6, 7 and 8 respectively, Karen Muir and Fairlie, Kiki Caron and Kathy Ferguson. And it is Karen Muir, the world record holder, with the halfway mark of the first leg, holds a fractional lead from Anne Fairlie and Kiki Caron and Kathy Ferguson. Those four in the lead, the rest nowhere. Karen Muir is holding on to her lead, heading now towards the halfway mark. It's Karen Muir, she's going to touch first, I think, and do her tumble twist turn. I'll wait for the half mark time. What is it going to say there? Now, 32 seconds. They're coming home now on the last leg. 32, and it's Karen Muir who's fractionally in front, and Anne Fairlie is facing her. Karen Muir, the world record holder, holding on to her lead. This magnificent little girl from Kimberley, here she is. I think she's going to win this Olympic final that never was, and it's still, but no, here is Anne Fairlie coming with a run inside her. Anne Fairlie is coming up, Anne Fairlie and Karen Muir, and it's going to be a tremendous race between these two. It's Karen Muir with a colossal finish, and all the officials are bunching it. Karen Muir is holding on to it. She's about a foot ahead. Karen Muir is going to win this race from Anne Fairlie. Here they go with a final touch. Karen Muir wins the race from Fairlie, Kiki Caron, and fourth, Kathy Ferguson.
In October 1965, Gary Player won the Piccadilly World Matchplay Championship at Wentworth after a phenomenal recovery against Tony Lima in a semi-final. He was 7 down with 18 to go, 5 down with 9 to go, and he won at the 37th. As Player walked back to the clubhouse, he collapsed from sheer exhaustion. When he came round in the dressing room later, this is what he said about the match.
All I can say, and I really sincerely mean this, that I feel terribly sorry for Tony Lima today. May it never happen to me what happened to him. That is probably the worst thing that could happen to a human being, really. Can you imagine? Just put yourself in his position and know how terrible it must feel. And I really, I was very pleased to win, but I really did feel sorry. And this is a mean game. It's a wonderful game, but it's a bit of a mean game, isn't it?
Gary Player. 1966 was a great year for South African athletics, with 19-year-old Paul Nash already showing his world class.
A lean forward and away, a good clean start, and Nash comes away with Smith beside him, and Jeffries on the outside of the track is also moving through rapidly in front of Butt on the inside. Here they come with Jeffries leading, and Nash is second, and Smith is third, and for Sale is fourth. And Jeffries a push from Nash. Nash catches Jeffries and beats him. Nash beats Jeffries on the tape. Jeffries is second, and third must be from Sale.
Vivian Granger now resumes the story of the progress of professional soccer in the 60s.
Well, the national football, in fact, it was a tremendous success, and the crowds in those early days were better than they are today. But just at a time when we were really beginning to make progress, in 1964 we were suspended in Tokyo and have been ever since. FIFA didn't like our policies, and there it was. We haven't been able to. I'm afraid it's going to be some years before we do get back, but we live in hope all the time. Referring to the professional period in the 1960s, I would say that the great days were those of Highlands Park in the mid-60s when they won the cup final 3 years in a row. They had great players like Freddie Kalk and Santoro and Walter, and Malcolm Rufus, who was really one of the stars of that particular era.
Word coming in field, gives it to Barber. Barber in the inside left position, halfway inside the Highlands half now. There's Santoro shadowing him, but he kicks it back, and John Huey is about 30 yards out. He's trying a shot. It caroms a couple of players and comes out here to Botten on the right wing by the corner flag, and Botten wastes noting it back into the goal mouth. The Highlands heads are all there, but so is Eddie Wurge. Barber sends it infield, but it's picked up nicely by Goff, who very coolly pushes it out to Hume, and that moment of pressure is relieved as Hume beats his man and streaking down the right wing, crosses the halfway line. He's about halfway inside the Arcadia half now. Tottenham hanging, and up comes Walter virtually unopposed to shoot and to score.
September the 15th, 1966, with Anthony Handley. In 1966-67, Australia under Bobby Simpson faced a bold and positive approach from South Africa. In the Test series, the Springboks won 3 matches, drew 1 and lost 1. Dennis Lindsay claimed 24 wickets behind the stumps and scored 606 runs at an average of 86,57. There were also good performances from Graeme and Peter Pollock, Trevor Goddard and Peter van der Merwe. The promising newcomers were Pat Trimborn and Mike Proctor.
Another fine achievement was that by a Transvaal, who became the first ever provincial side to defeat an Australian touring team. Ably captained by Ali Bocher, who himself contributed a double century, the Transvaal team claimed victory in the dying moments of the game, which was as dramatic an ending to any cricket match that any cricket lover could have wished.
Now Tillum again. Tillum over pitch, and it's a good stop there by somebody who's taking a pretty mighty blow on the knee, as is bound to happen. That's the silly mid-off. I think it's Weinstein. Now in Tillum again, to Hawk, fielded by Weinstein. I'll bet they're a bit tense, all those fieldsmen. In we move once more. Tillum's third ball to Hawk. Hawk taps it to silly mid-on. That's to McKinnon. Down they all crouch here. Lance, Barlow, in we come to Hawk. Hawk plays for it, and he's bowled. He's bowled. Hawk is bowled, and the match has been won. Hawk bowled Tillum, and I think it was a googly that did him. Bowled Tillum. Hawk is bowled by Tillum for 5, and the total is 413. 413. I'm in no fit state to try and take 13 away from 89, but I suppose it is 76.
Memories of Tuesday, November the 15th, 1966. We haven't forgotten motor racing, which has made remarkable progress, especially in the last 10 years. The South African Grand Prix is one of the top events on the international calendar.
And as you hand over to me, Tony, what must inevitably be the winner of the first AA South African Grand Prix will be Pedro Rodriguez of Mexico in the works Cooper Maserati, going through clubhouse on his very last lap, 80 long, harrowing laps he's had. And I now watch Denny Hume in fourth position go past. John Surtees in the works Honda coming through, still screaming at the top of his voice. And the ill-fated John Love swinging down through sunset. And as the Mexican goes up to you, Pedro Rodriguez coming down now the main straight, Tony, I hand you back to the tower.
And John Love is never saying die. I've just been handed a time for John Love. He's lapping at 100.65 miles an hour. But here comes Pedro Rodriguez down the straight, and the checkered flag is out. And there he has won the first AA Grand Prix of South Africa.
John Cook and Tony Ferguson at Kyalami in 1967. Early in that year, South Africa clinched the Test series against Australia at Port Elizabeth.
And there's a tremendous hubbub all around the ground. Just what it's in 8 of, they want a 6. They want a 6 to finish the deal. Well, can you ever give them enough to satisfy them? Let's get them in singles. And Renneberg hustles in. Let's go. Pollock hits him very hard. This is past the umpire at deep point. They'll take one. Are they going for a second? They'll have to hurry. There could be a run out here, and he's just home. Pollock is just home. I've never seen that chap run quite as fast as he ran there. Tabor knew he was home. He just nipped a bail off, but he knew he was home, and he went through the motions. He too joining in the excitement of these last few moments. 2 runs takes Pollock to 33, takes the total to 173. The umpires, with the utmost faithfulness to their duties, make absolutely certain the stumps are rearranged to sheer perfection, the end of the over. And now it is Chappell to bowl, and Lance who faces. Chappell coming in to bowl from the duck pond end. Lance is there, 3 runs required. Chappell bowls, Lance hits, and it is sailing, it's sailing. They're on the field. Whether it's 4 or whether it's 6, I do not know. Inundation. Thousands on the ground. 6 it is, I think. They've put 179 on the board. 179. Lance, 28. Pollock, 33. South Africa has won the Test and the series.